For those of you that have watched my channel for a while, you've probably noticed that I have a slight addiction to a couple EDC items, flashlights and external battery chargers. For example, in my current EDC, I've been carrying this Foursevens M2A flashlight, and I'm also using the Anker external battery charger that allows me to charge my smartphone. I always thought it'd be kind of cool if you could combine these two devices into one, so you didn't have to carry two separate devices. This Anker, for example, has a little flashlight on the top here, but as you can see, it's not really anything special as far as a flashlight goes. It'd be really cool to have a device that was a high-quality flashlight and a high-quality charger. Well, introducing the Loftek flashlight / external charger. You have the flashlight on the front here, a little click button in the front. Gives you multiple modes. You have a high mode at 160 lumens. It runs off an 18650 battery, which is rechargeable. You have a low mode. And then you have this little red beacon mode, which is kind of unique. And that's all chargeable in the back here with some USB in. So you have a USB micro in, and then you could charge out to an external device such as your smartphone. So not only can you use it as a flashlight, but you can also charge your phone while you're at it. So I'd like to do a product review featuring this flashlight. We're going to do mostly demos of both the flashlight and the external charging capabilities. I think we'll be bringing out our little fancy little above tech USB voltage and current meter to test out the output of this. We're going to charge some smartphone, we'll do some demos of the flashlight, and we'll go over the pros and cons. So let's get started with this product review of the Loftek flashlight / external battery charger. When you purchase the Loftek flashlight / external battery charger, it comes with the flashlight itself, also a nice little lanyard that you see here. There is no pocket clip with it. As you can see, it's kind of thick, especially when you compare it to other ones as far as EDC goes, but it feels real nice in the hand as far as the shape of it. So you go open it up here, it has a rechargeable Samsung 18650 battery that you see here. This is replaceable too, so if you wanted to, you could put a different battery in there, which is a nice little feature. So let's close it up really quick. It weighs in at 245 grams, so it's a good decent weight to it. It takes around 5 hours to charge, so I find that to work really nice. The red beacon that I mentioned earlier is kind of a nice feature. This would be a great little flashlight to have in your car, for example, and if you were pulled over on the side of the road, your car was broken down, you could put this on the roof, for example, to use just as a signaling device for other cars to make sure they don't hit you. As you see, that's kind of what the beacon looks like when it's spread out. So it's not really meant for distance, it's just meant to, to alert someone of your presence. Now let me show you how to charge the flashlight as well as charge external devices through the USB out of here. So to charge it, we're just going to connect the USB micro to the 5-volt in that you see here. This is already fully charged, so the light's not going to light up there, but it has a little LED indicator light that, as you see there. So now let's reverse the cable, and we're going to use it to charge some external devices. Let's turn off one of the lamps really quick so you can see what the meter is saying. So you have 5 volts out, as you see there. So let's connect a USB cable up to the meter. Wrong way. And then we're going to use the cable, we're going to connect it to a smartphone. You see it's starting to charge there. It cycles through the volts between, and then milliamp hours. So we got 73, 70, 78. So in comparison with the Anker, let's see how it compares with that. So it looks like it's performing slightly better than this little Anker. Now let's compare it with this PowerAd charger. Connecting it here. As you can see, the Loftek seems to perform a little bit better regarding that. Toward the end of that demo, you saw that the milliamp hours seemed to go a little bit low. I believe that's because this device is completely full, so it's just not going to keep cranking power to it. Now let's do a quick demo of the beam. So I'm around 25 feet from a concrete wall. So here's high. See, it's really nice and centered, it has a nice tone to it. Gonna go to low. And then here's the red beacon. You can't really see it up on the wall, but it's on. It's not really meant to go distance, it's just meant to be visible. Let's go back to the high mode really quick. So there's high. Now let's compare it with the Fenix LD20 flashlight. Fenix LD20 is advertised as 180 lumens. So as you can see, the Loftek, matches up pretty well with it. And here's the Loftek, Fenix LD20. Here's the two side by side. And there you go. Here's some trees. As you can see, pretty nice throw on that, huh? So I'm here at a school soccer field very late at night to show you the red hazard blinking light of the Loftek. So I'm around, I don't know, 50 to 60 yards away, I'd imagine. It's an old soccer field, if you could see it. So let's just walk a little closer so you can see the red blinking. So this would be a great little thing to have if you have this flashlight in your car, for example, in your vehicle, for an emergency signal if you're on the side of the road and needed to signal for the cars that your car was, broken down or something like that. So as you can see on the ground here, it doesn't really go that far, but you can see it from a pretty good distance away. Now let's go over the pros and cons. Starting off first with the pros. So the number one pro that I have with it is the overall size and weight of it. It's a really nice feeling flashlight when you're holding it. It's easy to aim. It's a little large for EDC. I'd prefer to have something a little bit thinner if you're going to carry it in your pocket, for example. But if you're going to have this in a desk drawer or in your vehicle, it's a nice size for a flashlight, I think. I really like that the 18650 battery is rechargeable and replaceable. So if you wanted to, you could charge multiple batteries using this device. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature. The price at $26 I find to be really good. For example, if you wanted to buy a Streamlight Stylus Pro at $20 and then this little Anker charger at also $20, you'd be spending $40 for the same kind of capabilities as you'd have from the Loftek 2-in-1 type of device. So the price I think is pretty good. And for the next pro that I have is regarding the build quality of it. I think it's built pretty well. It's not as nice as what you'd see maybe from Fenix or for Foursevens or any of those more well-known flashlight brands, at least the ones that I have, but it's definitely not a cheap feeling flashlight either. So it's a kind of in between on there, although I think it leans more towards being a good quality build to it. Next, I think it has a really nice beam on it. I'm pretty impressed with the amount of lumens. It's surprisingly bright, 160 lumens. It has a really long run times, especially if you have it on low mode. I find in my testing that it goes on low, it's going to go at least 72 hours, 72 to 80 hours during my testing. I find that it's very convenient to have micro USB charging capabilities. I kind of wish that I could charge more of my flashlights using USB. I find it to be really convenient instead of having to replace a battery all the time. And then the last pro that I have is I really like the flashing red feature on here. I find that with some of the other flashlights, I don't often use beacon high, beacon low, SOS, or even strobe, but I could see this being very valuable, especially if you're going to have this in your vehicle. So those are all the items that I have listed for the pros. Now let's move on to the cons. So the first con that I have is I find that the charge light in the back is kind of inconsistent in how it performs. It's supposed to turn, it's glowing red when it's charging, and it's supposed to turn off when it's done charging, but sometimes I find that it just remains on even though I know it's completely charged, and other times it works correctly. So it just seems to be a little bit inconsistent. Next, the textured grip on it I find to be a little bit slippery. I would prefer if it was closer to what you see with like the Foursevens flashlights. This has a really nice grip to it. Even if it's wet, you're going to have a nice grip. This one's just a little bit smooth for my preference. Next, it doesn't include a pocket clip. I generally like having pocket clips with my flashlight so I could connect it to things. This one has a fair amount of girth to it, as you can see here, so maybe you wouldn't want to have it in your pocket, but generally I like having pocket clips. Next, it's not IPX8 water resistant, so you can't just throw this thing in the lake and expect it to work. It's more along the lines of what you'd see from the Streamlight Stylus Pro, so this is going to work fine if it's raining, for example, but you're not going to want to submerge it into water. The next, I find that it has a low milliamp hours at 2600. That's even lower than what you'd have for this Anker, which is 3000. So it'd be kind of cool if it was up to par with the Anker, but at least provides you with one full charge for your cell phone, which is really all I really would want it for EDC purposes. Just charge my phone one time. Next, I find that it takes a while to charge your cell phone, which is kind of expected, but you're going to spend the whole night charging this device. It's not going to do it within a couple of hours. Next, I find that the button here for going through all the modes and everything, it's not of the quality as what I see from other flashlights. This is a nice quality button, as you see here. This one, it just feels a little flimsy for my preference. It has a minimal mode, so all you have is high, low, and then you have the red flashing. So you don't have any of the extra modes that you see with some other flashlights. Next, I find that the silver in the back here, it's kind of prone to scratching. I don't know if you could see that in the camera. I would probably prefer, it almost has like a mirror finish to it. I'd almost prefer if it just to be black with the white text on it, so you didn't have the scratching or anything. And then the last con that I have is I'm kind of worried about this thing breaking off eventually if it were to get caught on anything, and then this would be just totally exposed. Although it's not too big of a deal because, like, for example, most of your other chargers are already totally exposed. And that's all I have listed for the cons. In summary, I think the Loftek flashlight / external battery charger is a really cool device. I really like that it does two things at once. I could see this kind of design catching on with some of the other flashlight manufacturers, or maybe they want to offer something similar. I think that I have a few recommendations to make this a real serious EDC type contender. So I just wanted to list those out really quick. So to make this something that I would want to replace both my external charger and my flashlight with, these are the kind of things that I'd want with it. I'd want to have an improved grip, similar to what you have with the Foursevens. I'd prefer to have a twist operation for going through the modes instead of having this button. I think that would help with avoid any accidental pressing of it while it's in your pocket, as well as help with the waterproofing of it. It'd be kind of cool if the diameter of it was a little bit thinner to make it more EDC friendly. I'd like to have it a nice deep carry pocket clip on here, so I can include it in your shirt pocket, or even if you want to have it in your pants, and it just is in there fairly deep. Next, I thought it'd be kind of cool. Right now, when you get it, it does come with a USB charger, USB cable. But you kind of have to carry that along with you. I thought it might be a cool little feature to make the lanyard the USB charger. So there's different kind of USB cables nowadays. They make some that are really thin. I think it'd be really cool if you had this actually be the lanyard for the device, so then you wouldn't have to worry about not having the actual USB cable with you. It would just be part of the overall design of it. Next, it'd be nice to have O-rings added to the back here just to make it more waterproof. I generally like to have my flashlights totally waterproof, even though I've never dropped them in a pond for normal use. Maybe even not even having the swivel method of it, but maybe using it so you could just remove this and then get to the charger capabilities. Because for the most part, I think I'd rather have this be, its primary use be a flashlight and its secondary use be a backup external charger. But that's just one option, or just add an O-ring to it where you could help make it a little bit more waterproof. Also increase the milliamp hours to it from 2600 to at least 3000. It'd be really cool if it was like 5200 or so. And then I'd also like to see in the back here just some charge indicator LEDs. So like similar to what you'd see with a charger like this, where you have the LEDs that kind of tells you how much charge you have left on it. Really, there's only one little LED on here, although that's pretty consistent to what you see with other chargers. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this product review featuring the Loftek flashlight / external battery charger. Please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.